Being gentle is another thing that helps me get through challenging times. Thinking of being gentle with others helps me keep from lashing out as often and has me asking for forgiveness when I do lash out. Being gentle with myself helps keep me from beating myself up for things I might wish I had done differently, and there are a few of those. Being gentle also helps me with less challenging times. For example, being gentle with my steps or closing the door can be easier on others and perhaps reduce the chance that they get stirred up. It feels like being gentle helps me leave more smiles than frowns in my wake, and I believe that makes the world a better place. Now, I can imagine with choosing happiness, some of you say, "How can I choose happiness?" I admit it may not be the easiest at first, and it is definitely something I am learning to do. But it helps me to remember my belief that we are all spiritual by birth, and remember my desire to return to the positive qualities that go along with being spiritual. It also helps to have a broader definition of being happy, which for me includes being peaceful and centered. Over time, my desire to be peaceful and centered keeps growing and makes me want to return to that space when I don't feel it. When the negative feelings do come up, I try to stay open to why they are coming up and what I need. That gives me some space from the emotions and a chance to do something about them. I give myself time away from the situation if I am having trouble breaking the cycle of emotional reactivity. I also think about wanting to come from a place of love. And with that, let me turn to the topic of love. Now, this is where you might want to put an additional quote in your order of service. If I was your teacher and you had a pencil, I'd say, "Everybody pull out your pencil." And then underneath the first quote, write this, if this is your way. I know for me, I like to keep my order of service nice and clean, and sometimes. Well, anyway, this quote you may know already. It's from 1 Corinthians. "And the greatest of these is love. Love with a capital L is a central guiding force in my life. It is the biggest thing I take from Jesus' example. For me, love with a capital L is God, the source, and it is something we are all part of. And I believe we are all loved by God, the source, love with a capital L. I often get the image of love being the thing that we are all striving for, no matter what our religion or wisdom tradition, all of us trying to reach the same peak in our different costumes and with our different tools, walking in our own separate way, but all trying to get to love. I try to constantly feel my connection with love and remind myself of that connection when I don't feel it. I try to share love with the world out of that connection to the source and out of knowing that I am loved. That sense of love helps me know that I'm part of something larger and that I'm here for service. Sometimes it helps me to imagine myself connected to love by an intense beam of light reaching above me to that greater source, and then sharing that love out into the world by an equally intense beam of light. Sometimes I imagine it as an intense beam of light within me, an intense ball of light within me, and then sharing that love with the world, again with equally intense beams of light. That greater divine sense of love is what I aspire to be and bring into the world. In a moment, we will be invited to sing to the source of all, a hymn of grateful praise. We will be able to sing of the love which from our birth over and around us lies. As we move toward that hymn, allow me to share a prayer, hope, and wish for all of you. May you find your own love and light, your own connection to the source, the divine, to God. May you nurture that connection and return to it when you do not feel it. And finally, may you share that love fully with the world in your own unique and beautiful way. Amen. You may want to sit a moment for the blessing. I want to share something in maybe a slightly different way for some of you. First, I want to share a blessing of gratitude to my beloved Sherry. and friends like Robin and Fred and Jason who help support me in creating this service. And for all of you here, as you resume your day after this service, I want to share the blessing on the handout that came with your order of service, and it's written again by our own Jason Hubbard. There are 5 hand positions that go along with this blessing, and allow them to show them to you before we begin. The first one, you overlap your pinky and ring finger, cross your middle fingers, and let your pointer fingers come to a point. And your thumbs stay separated. And this can remind you of a house, and there are many geometries. You can find different things, let your fingers float a little bit, and see different things, reminding us of various representations of what we welcome into our day. The second, many of you may know from yoga as the Namaste. It reminds us to take the seat of a student. The third, you open your fingers but leave your pinkies connected. It reminds us of healing by engaging, by experiencing. The fourth is like a dove that we bring over our heart. It reminds us that we are loved. And the fifth is our hands, fingers spread again, but more open out to our sides. It opens us to the day. So I encourage you to allow me to read for you and not read along, but if you feel more comfortable reading along, I'm certainly not going to come stop you. And I invite you to really sink into the blessing. So first hand position with your fingers overlapped. Into my hands this day is given all that I need to be truly alive. All of the joy and all of the sorrow. All of the success and all of the failure. All of the ease and all of the suffering. All of this a gift for me. And the second hand position. And with these gifts, I am called to take the seat of a student. For all that has been given to me this day exists so that I may expand my heart, my mind, and my soul through a new learning. This learning may be easy or difficult, simple or complex. It may require my attention for a moment or for a lifetime. The outcome is not my primary focus. Simply opening to it is enough. And the third hand position, pinkies together, fingers spread. In this practice, I am welcomed into the very power of the universe, a divine rhythm of giving and receiving. Like the movement of my breath or the beating of my heart, the rising and setting of the sun or the ocean tides, I am invited to remember that my life is not only for me, but can be poured out into the world as a gift to others. This is my life breathing, set forth to my enemies and friends. And the fourth position, a dove over our heart. And if I am ever fearful or alone, let me remember that I am not alone. Embraced by love like a dove alighting upon my heart, assured that I am the beloved. And the last position, hands outspread. In all that is and may become, I set for my life into this day. Amen.